You hear it all the time, people talking about their identity. But if you ask most people about what identity is, they probably would realize that it's a question they have never thought about seriously. After all, what is identity? We all talk about it, but do we really understand what we are talking about? I know I sure didn't, but recently I was listening to a conversation involving a renowned psychologist who provided an extremely compelling answer.
And this is something else I wanted to talk to you about in detail, is that the notion of identity that lurks at the bottom of this. So the idea, I don't think I'm parodying this, the central idea seems to be that identity is something that you define yourself. And it's a consequence of your lived experience. And so no one has any right to state anything about your identity other than you, because they don't have access to your own subjective experiences. And look, I wouldn't want to make the claim that there's nothing in that, because there is a domain of subjective experience that's unique. But the problem with that seems to me to be is that identity isn't only a consequence of your subjective experience. In fact, it's not even a label for your subjective experience. Identity seems to me to be a handbag of tools that you employ to make your way in the natural and social world. So it's more like it's something more pragmatic. It's like the role you might play if you were playing a game with other people. And you can pick your role, but it has to be part of the game.
So identity is akin to the role that you play in a game. And the more I've pondered this idea, the more solid it becomes. If I decided to play baseball and I'm the catcher, that is my identity in relation to that game. I now know where I'm supposed to stand, how I'm supposed to interact with those around me, and I actually get to enjoy the game of baseball. In fact, each player on the team has a role to play, and that is what makes the whole game work. The reality is that societies are organized around what you might think of as being like games. Human beings cooperating with one another in different roles in order to achieve a particular end. Your identity labels describe your roles that you play in the different games of life. So I say I am a father, which describes the role that I play in the game of family life and how I relate to my wife and children. When I say I am an American, it says what role I play within the context of the game of global political organization and how I relate to my own nation and other nations in the world. When I say that I am a CEO, it describes my role within the game of my company and how I interact with the different members of my business. When I say that I am a child of God, this describes the role that I play in the great cosmic game of God and ultimate reality. You see, we use identity labels to help others know how to relate to us in the context of the many different games that we're playing in life. And what are we going to do? Not play games? Not have any roles in the games that we play? If I were to walk onto a field where everyone is playing baseball, but then tell everyone that they can't define me and I can do whatever I want, would that make any sense? We may be free to choose the games that we play, but if we want the game to function properly that we are playing, we need to play our part in that game according to the rules and the roles within that game. So how does this relate to the church? Well, we'll explore that in my next video. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and hit the subscribe button. Also, if you want more content, including the podcast, go to thoughtful-faith.com. Thanks for watching.